All right, this is a video to kind of go over some helpful tips for doing your assignment Mod 6A9 for the recommendation report. I'm going to go over a few very specific things. Um, first, first and foremost, we're going to go over formatting the whole document and look at how to set up your sections, using your styles, setting up your headers and footers, and then building your table of contents, your list of illustrations, and so forth. Next, we'll go over graphics, just how to add and format your citations, and then quoting those graphics within your text. And then lastly, I'll go over the appendices, what those should look like, the running head, the page numbering specific to each appendix, and then also quoting those within your text. All right, so I'm going to pull up here the example recommendation report that I've included with your assignment. It's already been kind of formatted so that you can see where the section breaks are and so forth. Just be aware that you need to create your own recommendation report just using your own styles. You should not be using this one to build your recommendation report. So just FYI, I will be watching for that, and it will be a deduction on your grade if you use this template. This is just a guide. All right, so the first thing you'll want to know how to do is how to set up your sections. So to set up sections, you want to be able to see your hidden characters first, so you can see where they're at. And then to set up sections, make sure that you have a little extra space. So you're going to be starting with a blank document. I would suggest you do this before you even put in any text. Start with a blank document, give yourself a little extra space, and then go to your layout and go to your breaks. Make sure that you're using the section break for next page, not for the page break. Do not use that. Do not use continuous. You want a next page section break, and there's a reason why. So if you look at the document here, you can see that there's a section break here. The reason why you want those clean cut section breaks is because of your headings. So we're going to jump ahead a little bit to the headers and footers. So you can see here this is section 1 footer, section 1 header. When you move into the next page and you have a section 2, if you need that to be different, that's where you need that separate section. In this case, you will want them to be separate because page numbering. All right. So for your section 1, which is going to include your transmittal letter, it's going to include the title page. They don't need page numbers. So you're going to have no page numbers set up here, okay? But when you get to your next section, which includes your, and this includes the abstract, which you don't necessarily need, but when you get to your next section that has your executive summary and it includes more information, you're going to need page numbering, which is what you're going to need here. And you're going to need that lettering. When you move into your next section, after your table of contents list of illustrations, you're going to need regular numbering, okay, right here. This should not be an A1. This actually should not be tied to appendices. So we just need the numbering. And you can see we just adjusted that there, and it will come through, and it's all different here, okay? Now notice here, these are all set as same as previous. Section 4 is the same as section 3, and it shouldn't be. We want them separated. So in order to do that, come here, oops, and then we just do, see this button right here, it says link to previous, just unlink it. Then it's not the same anymore. Now the page numbering stays the same, the way it should be, and it's not the same. We'll get into the formatting for the appendices, but the appendices is also another really big reason why you need that separate section. All right. So styles, let's go ahead and move into styles. I'm going to close this. Now we all know how to use styles. We did that in an assignment earlier in the semester. There's a reason why we want to use styles. Let me close those out as well. Up here, you can see my heading 1. I'm going to go ahead and modify that style so you can see what I'm doing. We have all the settings in place for my heading 1. Now, you're not getting graded on having a name for your heading 1. It's not a big deal right now. What is important is that you use the appropriate formatting for your heading 1. In the assignment, I believe that it calls for a sans serif font. Now, Arial is a great sans serif font, but if you want to use a different one, It's totally fine. And if you remember what sans serif is something that doesn't have the little wingy dingies in between your letters. Like this one is a serif font, and you can tell it has the extra little pieces and parts on each letter. You don't want that. Arial doesn't have that. They're very clean-cut lettering. That's why we want those for headings, okay? So we can change this one. Let's do, oh goodness, let's find one that's a sans serif here. We'll do Cannadera. That one's a sans serif. And 16 is a good size font for a heading 1. For your titles, you want them bigger, but we're not worried about that right now. And then I want to format the space around the paragraph, or around the heading itself. Now right now I've got it set for a -0.3, but let's just say that I want it set at a, let's just leave it at 0. I want it flush to the left margin, okay? Before and after spacing, 12 and 6 point is perfect. That's totally fine. You don't need to do anything different with that. And this is all you really need to have set up for this particular style. Make sure you have it set to automatically update. Click OK, or you can change your color too. Like your colors can be totally nice. Just make sure you use dark colors. They're easier to see. And voila, there you go. Now you can see that I've got that in there. It updated all of my heading 1s. Now the heading 1s, the reason why they're important is because they're in the table of contents. So make sure that they are appropriate. Also, when you're formatting your table of contents, make sure that the table of contents itself, the words there, are the same format. So it should not be bolded. It should be a size 16, just like the rest of them. There you go. Table of contents looks good. So make sure that your styles are all set appropriately and that you're using them. I will be checking to make sure you used your styles throughout your document. So let's move into headers and footers. Now I'm just going to go over one other thing really briefly with headers and footers. Make sure that you're using the appropriate numbering for each section. So for instance, the table of contents, list of illustrations, all of that front matter, except for your title page and your transmittal letter. They all need to be using that lowercase alpha numbering. So make sure that that's what you're using here. And it's very easy to do. You come up to your page number, you format your page number, and you can dictate what kind of numbering you use here. Just make sure that's what you're doing, okay? And then same thing with the rest of the body of your document, the body numbering. Make sure that it starts with 1 on the first page. And when you move into your appendices, which we'll go over here in just a little bit, you're using the appropriate numbering there as well. You may include the company logo up in your header section. Just be aware that the logo will not go from page to page. So if that's something that you want to do, you're going to have to insert it at each section beginning. So just be aware of that. Okay, so that's headers and footers. Table of contents and list of symbols, so forth. All right. You know how to make a table of contents. I had you do that before. You go into your references section here. You add a table of contents. Easy peasy. When you go into the list of illustrations, it's a little bit different. You need to actually have some kind of illustration to reference. So down here in the sample document, I have one. Here it is right here. And you can see that it has a citation at the bottom of it. So if you come back up here to list of illustrations, you can see that it's here. Okay, that's where I have it. Let's see, I'm sorry, that's where I have it. It's a figure 1. Okay, now the way that you're going to do that is when you're putting in your list of tables, it actually gave you directions right here, so you should be able to do this no problem. But you just do it here. This is the tool that you use to create that. It tells you which one you want to use, and it tells you how it's going to look. So you can change it, make it look different. That's how you do it. It's super simple. To insert a caption, you just go to the item that you want to insert a caption on. So here, if I wanted to insert a caption, I just come to, where's my caption? Oh, there it is. Here, when I want to insert a caption, it's right here. Click that button, and it inserts it. You can choose to label it figure 2 or whatever figure you want to put on there. It automatically does it for you. And then you can have it below the item or above the item. I recommend below. You don't really need it above unless you're doing a table, but even that you can have at the bottom. It's totally fine. And you can choose to show it as well. So let's say that you are doing a table and you don't want the caption on the table, but you want it to be able to be referenced within your list of illustrations, list of tables. Then you just click this exclude it and it's gone, but it will still be able to be pulled up when you make your list, okay? So there you go. That's how you do it. Super simple, super easy. You can see I've made some other examples available to you for this document. All right, so adding and formatting citations, we went over that. Quoting them within the text. All right, so here's what we need to do. When you are quoting them within your text, you need to say something like refer to the illustration. So let's see here. I'm going to put it right here. Refer to the ICE image, and then we're going to do figure 1. So usually it's going to be parentheses, figure 1, period, ICE source citation. Boom. That's how you refer to it in your document. Now there's another thing that you can do, especially if the image is on a separate page from where you're referring to it. Here's a really cool thing, and I would love to see you do this. You do this, I'll give you extra credit. All right? You can actually make a link to the citation here in your document. So we're going to go to cross-reference. We're going to go to a numbered item. Let's see here. It is going to be a figure, and that's what we want it to. Insert it, close. Boom. So now when I'm over here and I hover over it, you see how my mouse changes to a button? It takes me straight to it, right there. If you do that, extra credit. Awesome. Good job for you. It makes it easy to link within the document, and it helps people find information in there easier. Okay? A lot of times too, especially if you're going to do that, changing the color of the text that you're going to have set up for that also lets the people know that this is a hyperlink text. So you can change it to a different color, blue. And if I can get it to work here. Oops. Let's try making it a different color. Let's try it. Maybe let's try red just to see if I can get it to work. There we go. Making it a different color lets people know that it's a hyperlink. Usually blue indicates hyperlink, so you can do that there. Or even include a underlining. Again, blue underlining is typically your hyperlink, which is what they like to do for the most part. Any questions about that, you're always welcome to contact me. I will be happy to help you with that. That's awful blue. Okay, there we go. Like that. That's how you make that. And once you get done putting all of those in, make it at the end. So put your table and figures at the end. All right, appendices. I've been saving this one for last because appendices can be a pain in the rear. All right, I'm not going to lie to you about it. All right, appendices. So open up your header footer areas. Notice here that this has, it is not linked to previous because we want a different heading on it. For each appendices that you're going to build within your Word document, you need to have a separate section. So this one's Appendix A, so let's make it an Appendix B. So we need to come down here. This is section 7. It says link to previous. So I already have a section in here. I'm going to unlink it. I don't want it linked to the second one. And there's a reason. So Appendix A, XYZ software is this appendix running head. For Appendix B, this is going to be Appendix, we need to change the name. So we're going to say Appendix B, Stony software. We're just going to totally do something different. Okay? I don't want it to be the same up here. So now we have something different. Also, running heads are always all capitalized, which you can quickly do here. Uppercase, boom, we got it. Okay? That's how running heads are, all uppercase. Be aware of that. Okay, page numbering should not be the same as previous, so let's change this. So let's go back to our header footer. Let's unlink it. We don't want it the same as previous. And what we're going to do is format that page number so that it is the appendix letter plus page number. Okay? Then we're going to go down to the next appendix. This needs to be different as well, so we got to change that link to previous. Make sure you're clicked in the section before you disconnect the link to previous. Change that numbering, and it needs to be B2. And we need to change that numbering back to what it was before, so we need to modify the page number so that it starts at 1. And now we have B1, we have A1. Two separate appendices, two separate headings or headers. They need to be different. All right, what are you going to include in these sections? Okay, your appendices are going to be typically your your spec sheets. For this particular assignment, you're going to include spec sheets or data sheets about the products and services that you were assigned to look up. So copy and paste from the website that you're getting the information from. That's totally appropriate. Just make sure that the name of the place that you got the information from is available and it's in there and I can see it. I will be checking all of these. It's going to take me a little while to grade these, so just be aware that these things are important and they will be part of your grade. And quoting this in the text. So when you go to a quote appendix in the text, you need to be sure to put it in there as refer to appendix A, comma, and then list the name. Software XYZ, right? That's what it was on this one. XYZ. Okay? And again, bonus points if you put that extra link in there. All right? All you have to do is do a cross-reference. You can actually set it up to look to heading, I believe is what we're going to use here, because we're going to use a heading for that to show you where it's at. We only have appendices in this particular one, so we're going to insert that and close. Boom. Now it's in there. And again, show me that that is a link by using underline and blue. There you go. Okay. And then if I click on it, it takes me to the appendices, just like that. Okay. So that being said, you may want to make it so that each appendix has some kind of heading 1 item here, or some kind of name that you can cross-reference for that purpose. And that's it. That's the quick and dirty rundown of formatting your document. The rest is up to you. Fill in the text, fill in the information as you need to, as you see fit. As you can see in this document, now this is just a sample document, it's an old one. Some of the material in it is not relevant to you, and some of it is. So you pull from it what you need to fulfill the requirements of the assignment. I will be hosting a chat session to go over anything that you have questions about, so just be aware that you can bring your questions to me if this document is throwing you off a little bit. That's totally understandable. Otherwise, good luck, and I look forward to reading your work.